I'll put it to you like this. In the times it hasn't worked, it's been in the situation where they give you the whole, like, we don't have any suites available thing, right? Like, oh, sorry, sir, there aren't actually any suites available, so we can't upgrade you. However, in all of those instances, I've gotten like a cheese plate or a bottle of champagne, and usually like 25% off of, if they got a hotel in the restaurant in the hotel, they'll give me 25% off, right? You go, you spend 25% off whatever meal you want. So I don't get the suite, but they end up, giving me other stuff instead that they can give me, which is
So
always kind of fun.
there's still perks. Have you ever tried to negotiate with a receptionist that doesn't speak English?
You know what? When it comes to the language barrier, right? So it's going back to the Czech Republic thing and the language barrier. The key thing is to slow down.
Mm.
Like we always talk about cadence and being slow when you're talking to people that speak the same language as you. When there's a language barrier, you got to slow down even more. And you might even find yourself repeating things. So, like even just thinking of your example, right? When she got like kind of stressed out, pause and let her work all the way through. Oh my God, ruined the day. I don't know what you mean. Like just let her get all of that stuff out and then repeat it again even slower. And
Mm.
usually if you got to do it that way, start with an I'm sorry. Like, look, I'm sorry. I apologize. I am going to ask you a question that's probably going to ruin the rest of your day.
Oh.
Right? And so like you want to
Mm.
get like snail pace slow and make sure, and then right, they'll get a different reaction. Oh my God, so I was right. You are going to ruin my day. What is it? Right? And then you go into the audit part, right? I'm going to ask you for something that I know that I don't deserve. I would imagine you get a lot of people like me, right? You just
Yeah.
deliver it really slowly. So the key thing is slowing the cadence down even more,
Mm.
and throw in an occasional "I'm sorry" if you got to repeat yourself.
Sure. And you've got that late night DJ tone that I absolutely love it.
Oh
Always
yeah,
on top.
well, fortunately, I'm the son of the guy that like invented it, so I've gotten a fair amount of practice. I've got to see it in action a bunch.
Absolutely. So I guess, Brandon, I would say to what you do, because I think it's a great kind of talking point as well. I think there's 3 points to that. So it's like the ruin your day, they're gonna sound like the spoiled brat, and then there's
hmm
probably no chance. Do you know what I mean? Or would it be impossible? Would you be able to talk us through the psychology behind the 3 steps and why it works? Because I know for a lot of our viewers, it's like we can see why it's great to hear why something works, but when you break it down, that's where I get excited.
Sure, yeah, no problem. So the technical breakdown is, as we define it based on the Black Swan method, is you're starting with the cold read, which is that I'm going to ruin your day piece. The second part is what we call the accusations audit, right? I'm probably sounding like a spoiled brat. A lot of people are giving you crap about this, right? That whole thing. And then the last part, we usually use what we call a thought shaping question, something to the effect of how bad would it be, or how much trouble would I get you in if I asked? But exactly to your point there, Jack, you could use a no oriented question there. Would it be impossible? Would it be ridiculous if I asked?
Hmm.
We like the thought shaping question because it kind of hits two sides of the brain at once. And so we'll get to that as we work our way through it. Cold read, the first part. We advocate this often if you got a quick hit ask with someone, or you got a very limited amount of time. Like I need to get my ask in, I got to diffuse your negatives, and we got about 1 minute together, right? And so we got to be quick. That's where the cold read comes in, and so that's how that fits in here. The I'm going to ask you something that's probably going to ruin your day. That phrasing is much more of a high percentage shot. I would say, right? The probabilities are high that you're going to diffuse all potential negatives just based on the circumstance of trying to get an upgrade. Now, if you want to throw some humor in there, I'm going to ask you something that's going to make you want to kick me in the groin, right? Or it's going to make you want to pull that pen out and stab me in the neck with it, right? You could play with it if you want to, but just cold read of like, where are they sitting right now? And based on what I'm observing, how are they going to interpret my ask? Well, it's probably going to ruin their day. And that's kind of how we start to mentally construct
Mm.
that phrase. So that's the first piece, cold read. Second part, the accusations audit. What we advocate is exactly what you were laying out, Jack. Like this is going to make me sound like another spoiled hotel guest that is in fact asking for something that they don't deserve. And you can even throw demanding in there. It's going to sound like they're demanding something that they in fact do not deserve. And that's the audit piece, right? This section is if we could verbalize all of the reasons why they wouldn't want to give us the hotel upgrade. You sound like every other jerk that I've spoken to. I can't get through my workday without some idiot like you walking up to me and demanding more and then holding me personally accountable for problems that I'm not even responsible for, right? Like all those things are probably going to be in their head. How do we verbalize that before they even have a chance to feel it, right? We can predict that's where it's going. I'm going to tell you how you're going to feel. So when you get there, I take away permission for you to actually feel that way. It's interesting how that dynamic works if we can get out in front of it. And then the last part, thought shaping question, how much trouble would I get you in with your manager if I asked for a complimentary upgrade to a suite? And so the twofold piece there is, again, you're hitting another negative. Your manager might yell at you for giving away one of the best rooms in the hotel for free. And so I want to acknowledge that possibility first. And then we drop our ask in and being specific about the complimentary upgrade, right? One little tweak. If we leave it open, how about an upgrade? They're like, well, you can pay for the upgrade, right? And so we throw that complimentary piece in there to really guide what they're thinking about.
I love it. I love it. And that's, do you know what I mean? I watched that video so many times and now I've had one-on-one coaching. If it doesn't work next time, that's it. I'll just pay for the rest of my life.
Well, a couple nuances. I will say, and this is something I've only experienced in New York City. I haven't actually run into this anywhere else. When you book a hotel online, the difference between a regular room and the suite could be $200, $300, $400 or more, right? If you're ever booking rooms in New York City. What I have run into consistently in New York is usually their hotel upgrade on the spot is somewhere between $75 and $150 if they do it for you when you check in at the counter. If I don't get it for free, they're willing to do the upgrade for either $25 or $50 for the whole stay.
Wow.
And they actually pull out a special piece of paper and they say, you got to fill this out because they got to write in what your specific rate is going to be since they're giving you an exception. And then you got to sign it and they write in like what your rate is for the day. So that's how they break out the piece of paper in New York and have you sign off on a special rate. You're doing a good job.
Wow. That's good advice.